Nobody expected this. Not even Netflix's scriptwriters on their best caffeine-fueled day. At 6:17 a.m. London time, Prince Harry posted a statement so explosive that espresso sales reportedly spiked worldwide. The message? Direct, raw, and strangely lacking emojis. Almost suspiciously official for a man who once appeared in a documentary lighting candles while wearing a puffer jacket. The headline that followed said it all. Prince Harry makes huge announcement on Meghan Markle. She's a cheat. Before we continue, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell for updates. But before you jump to conclusions, clutch your pearls, or call your group chat, let's unpack what really happened, why it feels staged, why it might be satire, and why the internet just collectively entered its royal divorce era. Because one thing is certain, when royals announce things before breakfast, it rarely ends in calm discussion. Curious how one sentence can rewrite royal lore faster than a new set of letters patent? Keep reading. This gets wilder. Was it a royal press statement or the world's most expensive subtweet? The moment the statement dropped, something magical happened. News anchors inhaled sharply. Royal commentators suddenly forgot objectivity existed. Twitter, X, began vibrating like an unplugged toaster. The royal fandom whispered in unison, "What in the Crown, Season 9 cliffhanger is this?" Now to be clear, the term cheat here seems less like a legal claim and more like a relationship plot twist designed for engagement metrics. Because the statement did not specify what kind of cheating, nor did it include receipts, timestamps, or location tags. And let's face it, if there is one thing the internet loves more than actual cheating scandals, it's vague accusations that can be interpreted 47 different dramatic ways. Some readers assumed infidelity. Others read it as games of Monopoly being played unfairly. Others suspected it was about Scrabble. And a very passionate minority believes it was about Meghan allegedly skipping the line for airport security once. Because the royal world operates by rules unknowable to commoners, the announcement acted like a Rorschach test for public trauma and curiosity. Harry's choice of words was interesting. He didn't say misled, betrayed trust, violated agreements, or did something unfortunate. No, he went full tabloid headline energy. Which brings us to the first big question. Do royals usually sound like Page 6 editors, or was this aimed directly at us for views? The answer lies somewhere between strategic narrative bombshell and public emotional venting designed for virality. But what followed was even more peculiar. If this wasn't real drama, then why did it hit harder than a royal Christmas broadcast? And if it is satire, who's laughing right now? Keep scrolling. There's more beneath this tiara. Collective panic, collective theorizing, collective meme evolution. Within minutes of the announcement, the internet did what it does best. Turn confusion into content and content into currency. Here's the breakdown of public response. White heavy checkmark outrage. People were shocked, scandalized, personally offended, or all three, depending on how much royal merchandise they own. White heavy checkmark overanalysis. Every syllable was dissected like it was part of a coded prophecy. White heavy checkmark meme conversion. A wave of memes followed faster than actual facts could catch up. White heavy checkmark relationship narratives resurfacing. Suddenly everyone became an expert on royal love languages, trauma bonds, attachment theory, and why one should never announce anything before 7 a.m. Royal analysts pointed out that Harry didn't wear a ceremonial robe when announcing this, gather a crowd, cry in HD, or hint that this was connected to constitutional law, which suggests it may be less royal decree and more marriage reality show reboot. The biggest trend wasn't belief or disbelief. It was curiosity. The internet wasn't asking, "Is this true?" Instead, it asked the far more dangerous question. If this is true, what are the details? But that right there, that hunger for detail, is why this story thrives. Want to know the psychology behind why cryptic relationship crises outperform Real Palace news? Don't worry, we get to that soon. But first, the plot thickens. Sometimes, cheating just means someone changed the rules without informing the rest of the cast. Let's talk about a theory circulating in royal commentary circles. Harry may not have been referring to romantic infidelity at all, because the word cheat could plausibly mean any of the following in a royal context. Type of cheat, possible meaning. Emotional cheating, withholding information, shifting alliances, or binge-watching a show without your partner. Contractual cheating, going off script, renegotiating roles, or altering the narrative. Public image cheating, changing brand messaging without memoing the family. Narrative cheating, rewriting origin stories for better viewer retention. Game night cheating, let's be honest. Someone wins Uno suspiciously often in that household. One analyst humorously pointed out, in California, cheat means infidelity. In London, cheat may simply mean someone moved your furniture without telling you. That may sound absurd until you remember royals' love symbolism. Nothing about this announcement came with detail, which only made it more powerful. The vacuum of information sucked royal fans into a creative frenzy. But why is the lack of detail the entire reason this story works? We explore that next. The British Crown relies on mystery, but the internet relies on unanswered questions. Humans are biologically engineered to pay attention when certain story patterns occur. This was one of them. Prince Harry unintentionally or intentionally activated all 4 psychological engagement drivers. 1. Social drama. It involves high-status figures. 2. Relationship stakes. We relate to someone accusing someone else of cheating. 3. Identity projection. Royal fandom feels personally involved. 4. Missing details. This is the most crucial one. The human brain treats missing details like a pop-up notification that can't be closed. Scientists call this the curiosity gap, and it works like this. Vague accusation triggers question. Question demands answer. Absence of answer creates cognitive tension. Cognitive tension, addiction to content. Addiction to content, sustained engagement. Sustained engagement, peak virality. It's the same reason we click videos like, wait until the end. And guess what this story didn't provide? The end. So your brain will keep looking for one. Curious if the palace anticipated this reaction? Let's move on. Royal announcements rarely sound this tabloid without intention. Let's speculate responsibly for a second. Royal PR teams historically employ certain tactics. Timing control, emotional framing, public narrative capture, lack of actionable detail, universal vocabulary for ambiguous interpretation, announcement reaction clarification later, optional. This statement contained all 6, and then some, which gives rise to another massive question we must consider. Who benefits most from a dramatic headline that isn't backed by detail but carries emotional weight? Because while a palace might value truth, the internet values story. And Harry certainly delivered story. But let's explore Meghan's role next, with empathy, logic, and a comedic eyebrow raise. You either die a Disney princess or live long enough to be called a storyline villain. This is the internet equation. If Meghan Markle were a fictional character, for legal safety, we must repeat. This is fiction. She would embody the royal disruptor archetype. White heavy checkmark, loved by the hero. White heavy checkmark, hated by the establishment. White heavy checkmark, a fashion icon. White heavy checkmark, a narrative wildcard. White heavy checkmark, constantly surveilled by press. White heavy checkmark, strategically dramatic. White heavy checkmark, capable of generating global headlines without lifting a finger. She would be the character that keeps you guessing. Not because she's evil, not because she's innocent, but because we don't actually get the full picture. Which, again, is the entire reason fans can't stop watching. Meghan's public persona oscillates like a metronome between the warmly misunderstood royal, the resilient outsider, the chaotic narrative instigator, the woman everyone projects their opinions onto. In storytelling terms, she is what we call high interpretive ambiguity with maximum visual iconicity. No matter what actually happens, discussion happens louder. Yet Harry still made the announcement, not the palace. So what does that signal? Keep reading. This arc isn't done. They are not the same. They are not even friends. The royal playbook says, protect the institution. Avoid drama. Release statement only when vetted. Never admit personal issues publicly. The internet playbook says, drama is institution. Vague claims outperform facts. Early announcements hit hardest. Emotional beats outrank rational beats. If you don't control narrative, someone else will. Guess which one won this morning? Exactly. And now we must examine the mechanics of the announcement, not just the emotion. Because modern royalty is media too. Let's be honest. Here's an interpretation often floated by royal media analysts. Meghan cheated the narrative, not the marriage. Meaning, she changed the story arc from palace insider to global celebrity royal hybrid. She controlled media narrative more aggressively than the crown anticipated. She redefined royal image monetization. She participated in documentaries longer than royal media historians are comfortable with. She and Harry licensed their narrative to streaming platforms. This is not infidelity. This is media theory, storyline ownership, narrative jurisdiction, which might be why there were no details. How do you provide receipts for narrative crime? You don't. You let the internet fill in the blanks. But Harry said it, so fans believe it means something specific. And something specific is what they want to discover. You still with me? Good. Now for some meta lessons that can help your own storytelling. Not for real accusations, but for storytelling and digital content psychology. Since you're clearly crafting long-form royal entertainment content, let's pivot into creator strategy. Timing is everything. Drop confusing drama early in the day before real news anchors fully caffeinate. Use universal vocabulary. Words like cheat, betrayal, break, or huge announcement are interpretively flexible. Never provide full detail immediately. Mystery sustains engagement longer than facts do. Use the curiosity gap deliberately. End each section making readers ask a new question. Balance emotional beats with comedy. Emotion keeps viewers. Comedy makes them feel safe. Never sound defensive. Defensiveness and speculation. Confidence fuels it. Circle back to the opening hook. Reward audiences for staying until the end by reconnecting to the start. See, you can architect drama without defaming anyone. But we still haven't answered the biggest question yet, have we? Let's start winding this storytelling scepter toward a satisfying close. Because silence is protocol, but speech is rebellion. Harry did something unprecedented in royal storytelling terms. He announced personal relationship crisis without institutional mediation. This may or may not signal anything about the relationship itself, but it certainly signals this. Harry now plays by the internet playbook, not the palace playbook. And that shift matters more to royal lore than any specific claim ever could. But let's not ignore what fans really wanted. So let's give them one, in article form. Let's protect our legal crowns for a second. We do not assert the literal truth of any tabloidy claim of cheating in a romantic sense. They crave palace revelation. They don't want perfection. They want plot progression. They don't binge calm. They binge contradictions. And Harry gave them the ultimate contradiction by breaking character before sunrise. But you and I, we just monetize curiosity. Because every good expose ends by asking you to get involved. So now I ask you, do you believe this announcement was A. About infidelity? B. About narrative ownership? C. About emotional betrayal? D. Satire? E. Or something so unclassified that the crown legally cannot categorize it? Let me know. Drop your theory. Share it loudly. Debate it kindly. Meme it efficiently. Because the story isn't royal until commoners rewrite it. Which theory are you crowning today? Tell me in the comments, metaphorically, please. Share it with your friends. Or better yet, turn it into your own.